Greetings and salutations, everyone, and of course, welcome to another video from the creative mind of Dorraine. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you an excerpt of a presentation that I did for the Early Childhood Commission here in Jamaica. They asked me to present on play and the early years of a child, and so I just thought I would share a bit of that presentation with you. I will not share everything because it was really a lengthy presentation with the discussions back and forth, etc. It was done online as well. And so I just believe that, I'm going to put the information out there because some persons have reached out to me as well asking for the presentation and some of the information. And so I'm just going to put it on my, put some of it on this channel so that it can be accessible to everybody. I trust and do hope that you will enjoy it, the parts that I'm going to be sharing with you, and it will be quite informative. All right, so here it is. Many others, a whole lot. If you probably sit down to have this conversation, you may never stop right now because people will share a range of games that they would have played. Yeah, all right, so let's just move on. And so we want to look very quickly at what are some of the general characteristics of play, because we said this is a child's world. This is the work that they do. And so while they're doing this naturally, a lot of things are developing within these kids. Now, one of the things about play, we want to just go through these characteristics real quickly, is that play is self-chosen and self-directed. So when the children decide to go on the playground or they're on the veranda, they're in the room, wherever they are and they're playing, they decide what they want to play. They also decide how it is that the game will be played because they can also change the rules of the game to suit themselves within their group. And so it is self-directed. Plays have goals. Yes, either you go to, because if you're playing hopscotch, you want to make sure that what you go through the entire hopscotch box without getting out. You want to win. Yes, games are also guided by rules. If you're playing hopscotch, you don't want to step on the line. When you throw the thing in the box, you want to make sure it drops in the box and not outside of the box. So games are guided by rules. Play is imaginative. It moves away from reality. So there are things that the children will do while they're playing that's not necessarily realistic. And so it is their own imagination. And when they modify these games that they play to suit themselves, what it is that they are doing, they are gone into what? The imaginative, creating what they want. Play, active. Plays are active. Yeah, it's adventurous and it's risky. It's adventurous because there are so many things that the children will do. Yeah, they're on an adventure. Sometimes they go into the bushes, they're building things, etc. But it is also risky because with some plays that the students or the children will choose, what you find is that it runs the risk of sometimes them falling, maybe breaking a hand or getting some amount of hurt somewhere. Yeah, it's communicative because they have to communicate with each other. And of course, play is enjoyable. That is why children play, because they also want to do what they want to enjoy it. And that is why they can't stop. It doesn't matter what you tell them. Yes, they want to continue playing because it's enjoyable. Playing for them is quite meaningful. Yeah, it's meaningful. And the students, the children, they are very much involved. And that is why sometimes they get vexed because they're so involved, even their emotions are tied up in this thing. And so when they don't get what they want, sometimes they kind of vex and then push up their mouth and then they have to work through that kind of conflict with each other. Yeah, it's interactive and it's collaborative because they're not playing by themselves most times. They are working as a group. And that is why sometimes you can have 2 children or 3 children, any amount of them, not knowing each other, never seen each other before, but meet up in a space. And the moment they're in that space, in no time, you find that they come together and then they start doing what? Playing with each other. They form friendships, they become friends. And of course, play is symbolic. And we are going to talk some more about symbolic play later on. Now, I want you to watch this video. And after you see the video, then we are going to have a conversation about the video. Yes? Here goes. And I want you to give me a thumbs up if you're hearing.
just have to go outside and come my dolly here first, and then now we come inside. Come on, man, come. Ready? Oh, Rapunzel. Oh, all right. Here, want to come. Rapunzel. Rapunzel. Rapunzel, today you and I are going to have that little mommy and daughter talk, you know? Rapunzel, you're such a pretty little girl. You're a nice little girl. You're kind and you're sweet and you're talented like your mommy. You're ambition like your mommy. But there's only one thing wrong with you, Rapunzel. One thing wrong with you. You're here. Look how I go and make sure that I did with a nice like a brown skin straight here, man. I was so sure that your hair was going to tall down into your back like River Maiden. I even named you Rapunzel before you're born. And you have to come take your mommy here. And wicked, you wicked, so pick me. Now you condemn me to a life of my hand miggle and my finger head them a blister every day if you creep up this boarded if you go to school. But it's alright, man. Any day name day I cannot manage, I'm going to carry it to the hairdresser and make them cream it out and put in a tall like a brown weave so into your back because the school that I'm sending you to know is pure like a tall hair brown skin children go to that school. So try remember me if you buy the buckle of bleach for your face. Oh, and speaking of school, little miss, I have a thing or two I want to say to you. When you go to school, you see, you have to learn to look and listen. Did you hear me? Hello. What did I said? I said you have to learn to look and listen. You look and you see which children's them is coming out of Benz and Pahiro and Lexus in the morning. Mommy wanted to be independent in a Rapunzel, but these is your friends. I don't care if you don't like them. I said these is your friends. Did you hear me? Hello. What did I said? And look at this. You are to learn to listen. You listen, and any children who you hear them say their mother and father shop at Costco, turn in the next direction. Oh, but you see, any of you listen Rapunzel, and you hear them say that their mother and father go to Miami and LA and New York every weekend, then you have to sit down beside them and help them with them homework, you know, because them they kind of picnic custom to dance. You hear what I say? You are to help them with them homework. Did you hear me? Hello. What did I say? And look at miss. Another thing I want to talk to you about. You see, anytime you go to school and teacher say, sit down class, you are not to sit down beside any dry head coarse boo picnic. Did you hear me? I don't care if you are in them favor. I said don't sit beside them. Hello. What did I say? You are not to sit beside them, Rapunzel, because scientific study prove, you see, that bald head is catching. Oh, and look at this. Another thing I want to talk to you about. You see, when you get a little older and you get up into big class and you start to talk to boy, you are not to talk to any broke pocket barefoot kaba boy. Did you hear me? Hello. What did I say? I said you're not to talk to any of them. Rapunzel, you see, like if I black a card to you, try going like you never hear you here. And as for Bello, that is what you call kaba. Rapunzel, Bello carry so sardine sandwich go school every day, you know. And Bello father drive ladder. That a car, that a car. I say you are not to talk to Bello and Blacker. I don't care if you come from the same district. Do not talk to Bello and Blacker. Hello. What did I say? Rapunzel. You see, like Tony now, Rapunzel. Rapunzel. Tony's the kind of boy mommy want to see talking to at school, you know. You see how Tony's skin pretty, and Tony hair pretty, and Tony eye fever puss. Oh, Rapunzel. So, Rapunzel, so what if Tony's a bum? And so what if his father is a consultant who thief money out of bank? That is not important. Tony have the right attribute, and Tony is not a kaba. Do not back answer me. I say you are to talk to boys like Tony. You hear? Hello. What did I say? Rapunzel, listen. You have to learn to put a little milk in your coffee. And remember, Tony is not a kaba. So, you don't know what is a kaba? Oh, you mean you don't know what is a kaba? You want to know what is a kaba? See one right here, so. That is what you call kaba. And Rapunzel, look at mommy good. If you ever come into this house with any kaba, I'm going to turn you over and I'm going to beat you until you look a bottom. Soft like bridge. Did you hear me? Hello, what did I say? You come into this house. You're too rude, and you know, I'm not playing with you.
Joy, come inside now. If you don't do your homework, what did I say?
All right, Joan Andrea Hutchinson, there with Rapunzel, and the famous line, what did I said? Yeah, that's our favorite line, what did I said? Now I just want you to tell me, you who were watching, yeah? What was happening in the video? Just give me your thoughts. What do you think was happening in that particular video? What was happening in that video? Hi, Paula. Paula said some important lessons taught through comedy. Yes, some important lessons taught through comedy. Yeah, but tell me what exactly is happening in the video. We see, yes, there's a little girl with her dolly. Yeah, having a serious conversation with her dolly. Where do you think that little girl would have gotten those arguments from? Yeah, that's making up her conversation. Where do you believe the child would have received those arguments from to have that conversation? Children live what they learn, yes? Most of the times, children play what they experience at home, and this was what being acted out in the video. Exactly. That's from Deborah Butler. Clayton said she was role-playing all that she heard around her. Very good. From her parents, things that was happening around her. The mother is contradictory. She downgrading that little girl. Joan was role-playing, was talking about corporal punishment. The child was acting out what was being taught at home, reliving what happened at home. Somebody else said role-playing what it is that she saw. She was acting out what her mom did to her and what she saw happening around her. And so, yes, all the comments and the feedback, they are along that line. Yes, the child was acting out what's happening around her. And so those are the things that happens. And so all the time, we are always teaching our children whether or not we want to believe it. And so remember at the beginning, we said, good parents, they do what? Good teachers and good parents, you're artists because you create. And so here again, by watching that video, we are all saying that the child was acting out what it is that would have been seen around her. And so here again, we are talking about creating. And we want to say that what? Children repeat everything adults teach every day. Yes, and so we are always teaching our children through our actions. So sometimes we might not do it deliberately, but the children are seeing us. And the fact that they're seeing us, it means we have a responsibility, yes, to ensure that our actions are of such that when we teach, they are learning. And again, that is what we are saying about teachers creating. Now, everybody in the chat, everybody on YouTube, what I want you to start thinking about is this word create. Coming up with your own acronym as to what create could be. We started with one at the beginning where we said that what? You combine respect, empathy and assurance, and transform everything. Here we are meeting up on the word create again, where we're saying that creating this instant means children repeat everything adults teach every day. So what I want you to do, I want you to come up with your own acronym. What does create mean for you by the end of the session? And I want us to share them. So don't share them yet. I want you to think about them and we'll share them at the beginning. And so how is it that the children get to repeat everything every day? The children repeat everything they learn every day because what? By imitating us. Yes, that is what they do. They imitate our actions. And so I want you to look at this video and tell me, you might not hear the sound because the sound on this video, it is very low. It's very low, but just look at the action of the child in this video. You're sleeping like me? Yes. You sleep like me, let me see you.
You sleep right there already? Sleep in front of the stove. Right there. Right there. Yes, baby. Don't put it on the stove. Right there. Yes, baby. Night boy. Right there.
All right. Now, you may not have heard the sound, but just from the action, what can you say about this video? And by the way, the baby in that video was 2 years old at the time. So happened to be one of my nephews, 2 years old at the time. So that is why I'm able to have permission to use this particular video. Yeah. What do you see happening in the video based on what we just said about the acronym? Yeah, the acronym that we just talked about, where we say that children do what every day. Yeah. What exactly is happening in the video? Somebody said children learn through repetition and consistency. They also live what they learn. Yes. And so we just said that children repeat everything adults teach every day. Now, just by action, if you notice the child, how the child was sweeping, putting the broom underneath the table and underneath the things. Now, that is not something that the child just developed on his own. Yeah, it's just by watching. And if you were able to hear the audio, the first thing that the child said in the audio was, "Auntie, I am sweeping like you," which is saying, listen, I am imitating you. I am practicing, I'm doing what it is that I see you do. And that is how it is that we are teaching children every day through our own actions. And then the children turn around and they imitate us. And so, yes, Sonia James, they are like sponges. They absorb everything that we do and we say. And so because children imitate people around them, it is from this kind of imitation that the concept of pretend play develop. Yeah, it's out of the imitation that the concept of pretend play develop, or sometimes we refer to it as imaginative play. And some people call it fantasy play. There are different terminologies that we may use, but it's about just imitating what it is or copying what you see happening around. And so we have to be good models. Yeah. I'm going to show you another video. You feel me? Give me clothes. Now, in this second video, if we notice something, this is the same child that we saw in the first video with the broom. Yes, this is the same child we saw in the first video. The first video, he was 2. In this video, he is about 4 or 5 in this video. But we see that what? He continues to do what? Imitate, right? Notice how he is attired. The clothing he's wearing is completely too big for him, which means it's not his clothing, but he has dressed up in somebody's clothes. And here he is carrying on with his own antics. And so therefore, he continues to imitate whatever it is that is happening within his own environment. And of course, this is pretend play. And when children pretend play, you don't have to tell them what to do. And that is why we want to say some quick things about pretend play. That pretend play is voluntary. It's voluntary. Now, for those of us who have younger sisters at home, younger siblings, or even your own children, when they decide to dress up in your handbag, when they decide to dress up in your shoes, when they decide to put on your lipstick, when they decide to put on your wig, yes, when they decide to just dress up and put on your things, you don't have to tell them to do that. When they decide to start playing teacher or they decide to start playing doctor, you don't have to tell them. It's completely voluntary. They just go ahead and they just do what they want to do. Yeah. Another thing about imaginative play in this instance is that imaginative play is that the children utilize symbolic function. Now, what do we mean by that? We're talking about symbolic play here because they don't always use things as they are. And so when you give them a piece of stick, the stick may not necessarily be a piece of stick for them anymore. That piece of stick might serve as a sword for something. And so what they're doing, they're gone into using other objects to represent other things in real life. And that's a part of their imagination. That's a part of how the pretend play happen, because they're able to see things around. Yes, Claudia, they're going to mash up your shoes heel. Yes, because they don't understand how to walk in the shoes heel. And some of them learn to know that, listen, I can't walk in the shoes because by putting their foot in it, they're going to fall. And so they learn after a while that the shoes is not for them. But you don't have to say to them, go and put on the shoes. They by themselves decide to put on the shoes because that's what they want. That's what they want to do. It's voluntary. They choose, yeah, to put it on. Another thing about pretend play is that what? It's about children being able to experiment or manipulate a range of identities and a range of different what? Personalities. Yes. It is important that we pay attention to that. They manipulate the identities and the personalities. So they model their parents, they model their doctors, etc. But what is crucial about them taking on identity is that in playing out what is happening around them, it is a reflection of what is sometimes happening in their own culture and their own environment. So if nobody whom they interact with within the immediate home space doesn't wear lipstick, doesn't wear necklace, etc., and the child is not maybe engaging in any form of activity that exposes them to that, the child will not take that on because the child would not have been familiar with that. That's not a part of the child environment. That's not a part of the child culture. And so the child will not do it. But once it is a part of the child culture, the child is going to do it. Yeah? They're going to empty your handbags and then they're going to pack them up back because that's what they see you do. And it's also about the curiosity. A part of pretend play, again, is that it helps the child to develop what? Memory retention. Because once you do, it's easier for you to remember because what? You're embodying it. And so it becomes a muscle memory, because in this instance with imaginative play, the body becomes the textbook that the children are using. Yes, the body is that textbook. The body is the song, the body is everything. And because they put it in their bodies, then of course, it's easier for them to remember. And so when we talk about pretend play, where does drama fit into this whole thing of pretend play and our imaginative play? And so one of the things about learning is because you move from the known to the unknown in some instances, and pretend play comes naturally. And so what you want to do, there are things that the students learn or the children develop out of play just by being natural. And so you want to foster that. You want to create an environment that will allow the children to now take the play that they know so naturally and learn from it. And because of that, that is how we end up with dramatic play, because you are now moving into something where it is more structured. Yeah, so you're taking the known and putting it into the unknown where they're learning through it. So children in the dramatic play, what are we talking about? We're talking about where children accept roles that are assigned to them in given situations. And the actions that they do in dramatic play, those actions are reflective of the roles that they've accepted. So in your own classroom, right? In your own classroom, when you have your children and you're working through them with play, when you say to them, you're going to be the chef or you're going to be the nurse, whatever action they do, it's going to be reflective of that role that you have bestowed upon them. Now, Gavin Bolton, one of our famous drama advocates, what that drama advocate says, listen, there are some characteristics between normal play and dramatic play. And these are they. Both of them have rules. So yes, so when you play a game and you play a hopscotch, you don't want to step on the line, or you want to ensure that you're throwing the box stays in the box. So there are rules. Same thing with dramatic play. You have boundaries that are set up that it is that you're going to do what? Conduct your dramatic play in, if you're working with groups. And of course, they both have those rules. Dramatic play is structured. Yeah, while play happens naturally, but even though play happens naturally, there's still a structure to how the game is played. And so you have to play and operate by that structure. It's the same thing with dramatic play. It is structured, and so you are working within that same kind of structure. It's talking about the different outcome and the processes. And so because you're talking about the different outcome, when children play naturally just for recreation, they don't have any special aim. They just want to enjoy self. Yeah, they just want to enjoy themselves, have fun, and develop. with dramatic play, when it is structured, once you have framed the students in particular role, yes, there's a specific thing that you may want to accomplish. You may want to teach them something. And so the outcome that you're expecting is going to be different. And the process that you're taking them through will also be different. Yeah. Another characteristic with the two is that, guess what? It liberates and it constrains. So here, you'll have some children who are very shy and may not want to play, but the dramatic play can remove that shyness. It removes that shyness and they can just become who they want to be. But at the same time, there's some amount of constraint because they have to operate within the confines of what the role is that you have given them to do. And of course, it is negotiable. Because just like when they are playing their games and they negotiate which game they want to play, they might want to negotiate with you which game, which role they want to play. So they might come and say, Miss, I don't want to play that role. Miss, can I play the nurse? Can I play the doctor? Can I play X? Can I play this? And so you're going to find that they're doing different things in the negotiation process. Yeah. And so what exactly does drama facilitates in this dramatic play when we are looking at pretend play, when we are using that and we're taking it to the next level? Now, drama makes use of the imagination and it allows the child to be transported to a world that he or she wants to create. So it is not about you, the teacher, it's about the child when the child is in that drama. So even though the child is imitating what is happening within the real world and it's imitating you, the child don't only stay with the imitation, the child adds what he or she wants to add. So they can create whatever world they want to create. They can create that world where the plane will come from the sky and stop at their feet and they go and sit on the plane wing and the plane just take off back with them sitting on the wing. They can create that world where they can sit on the wings of the bird and just go and just fly away. And nothing happens to them because what? Drama allows for that level of imaginative play to take place within a structured context. Yeah, drama allows children to make sense of the world around them. You know why? Because children are able to do. Drama is about embodiment, it's about becoming. And so they are immersed into the play. It is hands-on, and so they are able to block out everything so they can understand why is it that at 5-year-old I cannot wear a heel, because when they decide to play dress up and put on the heel and start walking in it, then they will understand that okay, it is mostly females who will wear a heel, but they will also in that moment understand that as a 5-year-old then maybe I can walk in heel because I'm going to drop every minute. Yes, and so they might want to choose a lower heel after a while. And so as they explore the different things and understand how the different things around them work, what you're going to find happening is that their decisions will be different. And so because of drama, the students are able to move between both worlds seamlessly. They can move between the fantasy world and the real world. So they will do things when they're playing that are realistic and know it's realistic, but they will also do the things that are not realistic. And it is perfectly fine because they will not be confused about the two. That's the important things about drama. They can move seamlessly and still know which is real versus which is not real. And that's one of the power of drama when it is developing the children. Drama is about knowledge and shared experience. Now, colleagues, I want you to take this one very seriously. About knowledge and shared experience. Now, all the children who come to you, regardless of their age, regardless of their backgrounds, they come to you with some amount of experience. And the experience that they come to you with, that is the experience that they will take to the drama. So when a child will come to you and say, you know, miss, my mommy is not at home because mommy went on the plane. And because mommy went on the plane, I have to go and stay with my auntie. Yeah, maybe there might be another student or another child whose mommy did not go on the plane. Yeah, but because another child talks about the plane, they are learning through that child's experience. And so in the drama, the children are allowed to bring that experience to the drama and it can be played out in the class. And so they all learn from each other as a result. And so the child who did not have that experience with their parents going on the plane will go home to what? To their parent and say, you know, mommy, you know that Marsha said that her mommy is gone on the plane. And so Marsha has to stay with her auntie. Whatever the lesson may be from that, but the shared experience gets shared. Yes, and of course, the knowledge comes about as a result of that. And that is how the drama is developed from these shared experiences. Again, drama also allows them to explore the what if, yeah? What happens if? No, because not all the children will come with the experience. As the teacher, when you guide them through the drama, what is happening is that they're getting an opportunity to become the person in a situation. So what if the thing is, what will happen? What if fire burn your hand? What if you put your hand in the fire? What is going to happen? Now, you can use the moment in the class to explore that kind of what if with the children. And out of exploring that, all of the children in your class may not have had that experience of putting their hand in fire and fire burning, but by exploring that what if in the class, they can then learn from that moment that, oh, if I put my hand in the fire, then this is what is going to happen. And these are the ways in which we can react. And also, I should not put my hand in the fire. So they get a chance to explore that. Another thing about drama and pretend play is that it meets the children wherever they are. And this again is very crucial. And that is why drama in of itself can be such a very potent tool when you're looking at differentiation and catering for different students, because it doesn't matter the level where you're at, all of you are able to participate in the same drama, because drama allows that kind of leverage for you to be able to operate within the same space. And so if you have a child who has maybe some amount of learning disability, let us say the child might not be able to move around as fast as the others, yeah, because the child has a limp or whatever may happen, you can so structure the drama that the child gets a chance to still play a role in the drama that's equally on the level of the child who is able to move around real quickly, because drama allows all the worlds to meet. It allows all actions to meet. So it allows for the marriage of many things to happen within the drama. And so it meets the students where they are. And so nobody is left out of the play. Everybody can get a role to play in the drama, and so they are able to learn and they participate. I hope you're writing down your questions, so by the end, if you have any questions, we can take the questions real quickly, yes? And so therefore, when we are looking at dramatic, we are looking at pretend play, and you're putting it with drama, what are some of the things that we can do? Yes, you want to create the environment for the children to engage in the pretend play, both voluntarily as well as structured. And so you, the teacher, you have to find ways to guide the drama. Yes, we all do reading in our classroom where we read the stories, and of course we have the students act out the stories. But as the teacher, you also need to practice vocal manipulation so you can play the voices of the various characters that you're reading and allow the students to do it. But also allow the students to tell stories and try to manipulate the voices at the same time, because then they come into that pretend play. Yes, use of props, and this is rather critical. Now, if we are playing with imagination, yes, we want to choose our props carefully. Yes, we'll have a lot of toys in our class and a lot of things in our corner, but remember that there are some props and some toys that limits children's imagination. So if I give a child an airplane, a toy airplane, what the child will see, the child will only see what? An airplane. Yeah, that's all the child will see, because that's what it is. So it doesn't allow the child to think beyond the airplane or use that object as something else. However, if I probably just give the child a piece of stick or give the child a plastic bag, the child may just see it as something that I now need to use as an airplane. But having used that as airplane, they can also take it and decide, I'm going to use it as a towel afterwards. I might use it as a covering for something. And so you want to also choose props that are generic and general that will allow the student to be able to use it as anything that he or she wants to do, because that is what stimulates the imagination. So yes, you want to give them specific things sometimes, but if we're talking about building the imagination and developing that holistic child, then we would want to try and do that. Costumes. Children like to play dress up. And because children like to play dress up, you want to make sure that you give them whatever it is that will allow them to do the dress up. Frame them in role. Yes, my time is wrapping up. I'm just seeing the signal, right? You want to frame them into role. Allow them to take on as much role as they possibly can. right? However, as a teacher, you want to be a part of the role that you frame them in. And it's always good to take what? The lower role and give the student the higher status role. So for example, the teacher, you might want to become the sick patient and say to the child, you know what, you are now the doctor, and allow the child to make the decisions, and you lead the drama from that. Yes, there are also other drama strategies you can use. Teacher in role. Yeah, that is where, as the teacher, you're going into role and you're leading the drama completely as is. You want to ensure that as you're guiding the students through and using the drama, you're utilizing these things that will allow the children to develop as best as they possibly can. You want them to ensure that what? Their individuality is being catered to, their psychological needs being catered to, and the social need. So it's about their humanity. As the advocate Brian Way would have said, yeah, it's about developing the individuality of the child. And within the drama, if you utilize a strategy, then you're able to do that. And if you're able to utilize a strategy and get the children that way, what you're going to find happening is that the children would then create. What do I mean by that? The children would reflect each attribute teachers embody. Yes? If we do all of what we talked about earlier, what are we saying the children would do? We'll get to the place where the children are now the ones creating. And what does that mean when we say the children create? Children reflect each attribute the teachers embody. Remember, we did say that we were working through these acronyms. And so just to wrap up, I just want to remind us of these acronyms. What we said, good parents and teachers are artists, they create. The first one is that the teachers combine respect, empathy, assurance, and transform everything. And the other thing that would happen, we said that children repeat everything adults teach every day. And that is how they do that, through the imitation. But if we are able to create the kind of environment that will foster the kind of pretend play that children tend to engage in naturally using the drama, then we find that children will reflect each attribute that the teachers embody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'll quickly take the questions if we have time. But moderator, it's over to you.
I'm just gonna dramatize this, girl. You have done well. You see my chum bubblegum? Oh my God. We're talking about drama. Yes, I'm talking about drama. Okay, a bubblegum natural, yeah. All right, just getting straight in. I had to put a gum no more because we're talking about drama. We're talking about play with children. And look here, this is just my alley. You have went up my alley. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dorraine, you have done it. I don't want you to leave. Please don't leave. Just stay with us, man. Stay with us. It's just I wish you see, if you were the last person, I would allow you to just continue to talk. And I'm sure that the practitioners in YouTube would love to see you stay. I love to hear more from you, but time won't allow. But what some of the things that I like and some of the things that I grasp from it is that you spoke about the characteristics of play. You said play is self-chosen and self-directed. You said that it is adventurous and risky. You know, adventurous, but it's a little bit risky, but you know, you have to watch them. That's why I pay keys attention. To pay attention to these children. It's guided by rules and it's interactive. And most importantly, it is enjoyable. Thank you very much. You asked about an acronym for CREATE. I made my own. I said caregivers, reactions every day attracts teachable experiences.
Ooh, that is really nice. I think you should show the rest of your teachers.
Don't it? I think I need to do that. Girl, I'm going to try my best to do so.
Acronym in YouTube, please. Please put it there. That's a beautiful one.
You have done well. You have done very well. You see, it's like me, I stall, me, don't want to leave. Mighty God, we said drama. Early Child Commission. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. I would love to know if I could invite you to other sessions, especially in the Early Child Commission. So just keep the line open. Not this line directly, but keep the line open so we can have a conversation later down.
Definitely,
All right. So
definitely.
practitioners, I hope you did not. I don't even ask if you enjoy yourself. All right. What did I said? I know you enjoy yourself. What did I said? All right. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right. So remember.
All right, everyone. So there you have it. That was my presentation on play and a child in its early years, as well as the other things that it went into. And so I do trust and hope that the information was quite useful, right? And somebody will benefit from the information. Just tell me what you think. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah. And so I have a question for you. And my question for you is, what are your thoughts on play and the children's development? Yeah, what are your thoughts on play and children's development? So I just want you to put that in the comment section and let us continue a conversation. Don't forget to share this video with somebody whom you think may find it useful. We have so many persons who are studying early childhood education, and I believe that this information will be quite useful to them. Several persons who are also studying child's development as well. This information, I think, would be quite useful for them. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And take care until you hear from me again in another video. Walk good.